And I'll just have like the audio muted because I think that's where we're going to have people, they can comment there right in that stream.
Will I be able to see the comments here, like in anywhere, or?
Hold on.
This will be kind of interesting.
So here, let me, oh, it is nice. It is nice because when we talk, it shows us. So it like goes back and forth automatically.
Okay. So now that I'm talking, it shows up.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm seeing delayed, but.
Oh, I can view it over here.
And there is a chat. So let me, are you on a Mac or on a PC?
PC.
Okay, hold on. Let me email it to you then.
I can see it. I can see it here on the.
Oh, is it on the GPL YouTube page already?
No, yeah, it's there. Well, I clicked on the link from.
Oh, there's a link.
Zoom.
In Zoom. Okay, well that's good. That's easy for you then. So let me. I want to get the share code here. Embed code for the URL. See if I can get this up and running. Just click live so I can. I'll get this playing again. Hit live. Okay, we're
really
delayed.
Confused myself by listening to us or whatever.
Yeah, I actually just muted it. So.
Okay.
Okay, let me go to this and see if I can get us up and running on the main site. YouTube. Oops. So it actually showed you a link, huh?
Yeah, in the Zoom meeting in the upper left, it says live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And you can
I
click
see. Okay.
on that and you can do copy streaming link or view stream on YouTube.
Okay, let me see if this is up on. Yeah, people can actually click and make us go live on YouTube. Yeah.
Does it show like what's happening right now?
Yeah. It will if somebody hits me if you go to the GPL homepage, you hit play, it'll.
Like if I know when I follow the University of Minnesota Regents, I get a heads up that they're broadcasting live if they're subscribed.
And the thing is, some people might get that as well. So if anyone's subscribed, they'll probably get a notification. So let me see if I can on the GPL portal or. YouTube.
I gotta figure out what's the best lighting in here as well. You've got pretty good light in yours.
I've got see, I'm always doing Zoom.
Yeah.
So I've got a light shining on the wall in front of me and another light that shines up on the ceiling, kind of like those indirect lights.
Yeah. I was thinking about getting one of those ring things. I was signed to Jessie Pierce. She's been doing the Bar Down Beauties stuff. Yeah. And she is like, yeah, I invested in one of those and it makes a big difference. I was like, yeah, I mean, everyone on their show has got the good lighting. I'm like, we can.
Yeah, since I'm at home all the time, it works that way. So, all right, here, just a quick thing. Can you hear this?
Yep.
Just what I needed to know. That's perfect. Except I need to make that a little bigger so I can see it. Change it. So I've got everything on one screen. That's one thing nice about having this big monitor now too.
Yeah, I've got my setup here. I've got 2 big displays.
That's nice.
And then got the kids at Mariucci there.
Very nice. I was able to take a second 27-inch home, but then they're like, no, we need it back. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Oh, I lost my.
All right, I'm going to tweet that we're live. We'll see how that goes.
Let's see if anybody is done with the debate. If you're ready to be done with presidential debates, come over to us.
Free to use the chat. Wow. We are live for your questions. Yeah, I like that it automatically does it. And then if I share the screen, it'll work well there.
Chat.
Okay, tweet deck, and we did get one question from Tim, of course. He's always
loyal.
reliable. And then we can both kind of keep an eye on if people chat, if they're listening live. It's weird to see it delayed, though.
Yeah, it is a little different.
Kind of curious how delayed it is. Let's grab my drink and see how long it takes.
What's in there?
For those of you listening or watching us live, we're trying something new with the YouTube stream via Zoom. So we're going to try that this time and see how it works. I think, I like to do all these different kind of recordings. I might be able to get this set up. I just saw myself drink, so it's not too long of a delay. A little longer than Mixler, but it shows 6 people watching now.
Oh, wow.
So people are starting to watch, like if you're watching live, we haven't started the show yet. A lot of you have been listening to us live on Mixler for quite a few years.
Pre-show.
It's the pre-show.
Pre-show is different than the post-show. A little cleaner.
And obviously this is definitely new for us. We're just trying to make sure the bugs are all worked out and whatnot. But hey, Vig, should we start the show? I think I'm ready to start the show.
What's our pre-production meeting? What's on the agenda tonight?
Well,
just so I have some idea what we're gonna do.
Kind of, for one thing, it's been a long time since we've had a show, and there's been a lot of craziness since then, just in sports in general. And I think a good discussion, just talking about how sports have changed.
Yeah,
leading into what we found out yesterday with the schedule.
A lot of responsibilities on college players.
Yeah, and then we can get into I'll do the commercial, and we'll get into the draft, and then a couple other things. I was thinking about how this is all going to work.
Yeah, I'll see what I can remember off the top of my head. It's been a long time.
Yeah, that's okay. COVID. All right. Let's see if I can remember how to do this all again. This is the GPL podcast, sponsored by Jerry Peters and First Class Mortgage. Our expertise, your peace of mind. Visit us at firstclassmortgage.com. Now, here's Jupe and Vigo. Welcome to the GPL podcast, episode number 176. Well, Vigs, we're back after a rather long layoff. It's been a while since we've done a show. We had a season-ending show when the COVID hit, and now we're starting a new thing here. We're streaming live on Zoom, and we're using their feature to send it all out to YouTube. So we're doing something a little different, trying something different. Everyone's been doing these Zoom meetings, so why not us do the same thing?
Yeah, you get to see us react to each other's ridiculousness throughout the season. Hopefully, it's kind of fun. I'm excited that there is a schedule coming up. I think a lot of us have been looking forward to sports as a little bit of an outlet during this time of lockdowns and disruption.
Disruption is I don't know if that says enough right there, because it's been more than a disruption. It's been pretty much crazy. All our lives have been turned upside down. I mean, it just seems like, hey, I want to go do something. Oh wait, I can't. It seems like the little things that we used to do all the time we can't do anymore. So, and in this whole period of time of craziness, one thing that's happened here, Viggs, is sports started coming back. We had a long time during the summer where nothing was going on. And then the NHL and the NBA got together and say, hey, we're gonna lock down everybody, and we're gonna finish our seasons. And what a job those two leagues have done to keep people locked down, to not have any cases. They really did an amazing job. The NBA is going to finish up here soon. The NHL just finished up in their lockdown mode, and boy, did they do an excellent job.
Yeah, I think when you look at the NHL and the NBA, those are models for how you can do this in this kind of pandemic time. Those players have been really disciplined. I know that there was an article that Yahoo Sports put out interviewing people in the NHL bubble about what it's like. And it's pretty monotonous for them to live in these hotels. It wasn't quite like what they were promised. They haven't had these golf outings to places like maybe they were shown in the brochures. Some of the teams get access to the outdoor spaces at the soccer fields and things like that. But it's been a tough grind for some of those players. And it's been fun to be able to watch them play. It hasn't quite probably been the same without fans there. The games maybe had a little bit less energy, but it also revealed a lot about the game too, hearing the chirps on the bench and things like that. I think Major League Baseball was a little more fortunate. They had a lot more cases, but they were able to keep them contained. And baseball is a game where you could play 2 7-inning doubleheaders, type situations and get the games in and get through a season.
And there's not the physical contact like you have with a basketball or a hockey. I mean, it's just not even close.
Right. So they've had a few more issues, I think, than the other sports. I think you're seeing it with the NFL right now. They're having some issues because they're not in a bubble. They're trying to hold their season with putting a lot of responsibilities on the players. They're doing a lot of testing and they're trying the best they can. But in a game like football and with practicing like football players practice, it's a tricky situation. I think they're showing almost a peak at what college could be like. We've seen a lot of college football games get canceled. But it's a lot of responsibilities on the players for those games to be played.
So earlier this fall, Big Ten pretty much came back and said, we're going to shut her down. We're not going to have football this fall. And when that happened, boy, it wasn't looking good for hockey. And then the Pac-10 followed up with football as well. A few others, and a few others are still not going to play. But then some of the Southern schools says, hey, we're going to do it. We figured out a way. And according to the university and actually the Big Ten, they kind of flip-flop when they learned that they could do some much quicker and much cheaper testing for their players. And the thing is, as Coach Motzko has been saying, what football does was going to directly affect what hockey does. And football made changes when they learned that they could do this quicker and cheaper testing.
Yeah, I think when the Big Ten schools were looking at the financial pictures of what this was going to look like, where they're going to lose $75 million or upwards of revenue, I think it kind of got them to start paying a little more attention about what's possible. Can we figure out this antigen daily testing? Those test kits, I think they're like $15 a kit. So it's still over the course of the season going to cost millions of dollars to the Big Ten, but it's possible for them to have a season. And if there are outbreaks, this allows them to contain it. They'll still follow up with the PCR testing, but it makes it possible.
So in leading to that, we ended up just yesterday that the Big Ten came out and said, hey, we're going to play hockey. We're going to play conference only. We're going to play 24 conference games. And oh, by the way, we're going to team up with Arizona State. And Arizona State's going to come to your school, all the Big Ten schools, 4 times, giving each team in the Big Ten 28 games for the season. We don't know what the schedule is going to look like yet. They're still putting that together. We don't know what TV is going to be like. It's speculated that we could have all kinds of different days and times and things like that. That doesn't bother me so much. I just love the fact that it looks like there's actually a plan now to get back to hockey.
Yeah, I think it's important for the Big Ten to do their scheduling and get ASU involved. I know Greg Powers reached out to Red Berenson very early in all this about hoping they could be an eighth team to kind of help the scheduling and get everybody playing during the weeks. And I think they have basically 18 weekends to play their 14 series. So there's a little bit of flexibility there for them to figure things out. You know, the Gophers at least have been on the ice since the week after school started. Motzko gives the student athletes that first week to just be students. And then they start ramping things up a little bit. And so they are practicing. I think you saw when Brock Faber got picked today, you know, the team announced it because they were on the ice and he did a lap for everybody. That's what you do when you get picked.
Put them to work.
And,
Make
yeah.
them skate.
And so they have a plan. I think it was really important for them to come forward with a plan because when the Ivy League said that they weren't playing until January 1st, Harvard lost 5 players. So there has been a lot of pressure on coaches and programs to figure this out, or there was going to be an exodus of really talented players who did not want to miss out on a development opportunity by playing this season. So I think that was very important for the Big Ten to figure out. You know, you've got programs like Michigan, they've got lots of first round talent.
Oh boy.
And if they're not playing, guess what? Major junior is going to come calling. Europe's going to come calling, and those programs are going to be hurting because you can't just replace those players quickly.
No, you can't. And, you know, we found this out, you know, when that was kind of the first thing that happened with football as well. You know, what was it? It was Bateman, wasn't it? Who decided I'm going to go pro. There's no plan to play football until at least spring. And then all of a sudden, you know, the Big Ten changes its mind, and he had to get some waivers and whatnot, but now he's back. But there was so much uncertainty with football as well. But now things are looking up for that team as well, because, you know, after this is obviously a hockey program, but obviously football had a big resurgence last year, and football is hugely important to the entire athletic program. And to get someone like that back and not lose him because of, you know, we're not playing a season was a pretty big deal. And further on, the Gophers didn't have anyone sneak away for the hockey team either.
Yeah, there very well could have been a player or two who decide not to come back. You know, Sampo Ranta, he's of that age where he's got a lot of choices for himself. He probably could have figured something out. Sammy Walker, Blake McLaughlin. There's a list of players who probably were checking out other options to figure out what to do with their hockey career.
So we have this Big Ten schedule with Arizona State. Does this hint that Arizona State could be a future member, or is this just a trial, just to help out another school?
Well, Tony Granado this week told Todd Molesky that Arizona State does fit the profile of a Big Ten institution. You know, the only reason they're able to be that extra team in the schedule is because ASU can afford the testing regimen. You'll notice that Minnesota is not going to be playing NCHC schools. They're not going to be playing WCHA schools. A lot of that's because I think those schools are going to have a hard time meeting the same standards that the Big Ten is going to implement. So when Arizona State says we'll meet that challenge and do it, Big Ten says okay. The next big step for them, they have to get their arena thing figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Jess Myers has said many times, when you're in the press box at their little tiny rink, which hangs out over the benches, you can hear everything that's going on in the benches as the coaches are being very encouraging to their players. And that's just not big time hockey. So they need to get that figured out.
Basically, it's just a tiny high school rink in Minnesota, isn't it?
It would be a very tiny high school rink. It's like Drake Arena. It's not very advanced. You know, they've got a lot of things there that are very nice. Their hockey rink is not there yet. So for them to even have a chance to be anywhere, I think that's what's been holding them back the whole time. And you compare it to an institution like St. Thomas, they're going to have a rink solution. And that's why the WCHA is just like, yep, We want to have the Twin Cities in our conference, and we trust that you'll get a rig figured out quickly.
And that's a great move right there. St. Thomas. That wasn't really too much on our radar when we had our last show. All of a sudden, they're going D1. Don Lucia's like, well, let's grab this team up for our new CCHA. He did. What? That happened real quick, Viggs.
It happened real quick because I think it's been in the works for quite a while. I don't know if you've been aware of me beating the drum that St. Thomas has not been kicked out of the MIAC. They were pretty sure that they wanted to make this move. When they hired Phil Eston away from Penn State, they were hiring someone who knows how to take a program from club into Division I Big Ten hockey. He knows the steps that have to happen for compliance, for scholarships, for academic support, all that infrastructure, athletic training that you need to run successful D1 sports. Phil Eston went through that process with Penn State hockey. So he knows what has to happen for St. Thomas as a whole. And so once that kind of got motion and they got their donors lined up, they were headed for bigger things. And they are well poised to be a quick riser in college hockey. They're in a great location. They're going to be hiring a new coach. And, you know, there's probably a lot of familiar names in college hockey that are pining for that job. It's going to be
Mike Genzel.
You know, Mike Genzel almost went to St. Thomas Academy. Maybe he'll be at the University of St. Thomas. We'll see. He's got to be a name on the list.
Yeah, he does.
I don't have any inside information. I think Scott Bell would be a great person to consider for that position. He knows how to handle a school like Hamlin, very familiar with St. Thomas, local guy. He recruited a lot of players while at Minnesota. You know, that kind of youth movement that happened after Platoni left, that's a lot of Scott Bell legwork. He was the man who was out recruiting. He wasn't really on the coaching staff. He was letting Don and Mike figure out what they wanted to do with the stuff on the ice. But Scott Bell off the ice, he delivered a lot of recruits like the Lucius brothers to Minnesota.
Okay, well, it's going to be interesting. You know, if they get a rink, hopefully fairly soon. I would love to see a St. Thomas become a regional team that we could play every year, because you know that's going to be they have to do it. You get a school literally just blocks away, you're going to have to be playing them, and you know, in fact, I think it should be St. Thomas's first game as a D1 team against Minnesota. I think that would be just perfect.
It would be great. I think it's going to be good for college hockey. You know, with the Alaska schools going through their demise, I think it's great that we can get another school in St. Thomas. And, you know, hopefully someday that other Big Ten school comes to fruition.
Well, I just think of how much, you know, how many schools have been added in Minnesota since I started paying attention to college hockey in the late 80s. I mean, you know, St. Cloud was D2 or D3 at the time. Same with Bemidji, same with Mankato. And now all three of those are in. And now we're adding St. Thomas. We went from two schools to a full conference real quickly there in a matter of just a couple, you know, 20 years, really, honestly. So it is great to see expanding it. But then on the other side, like you mentioned, we're losing the Alaska schools. And I know, you know, Don Lucia is heading up the new CCHA, and that's where he got his start, is up in Alaska. It can't really be a good thing for him to see some of his old programs. Basically, they're going to disappear.
Yeah, it's too bad. You never like to see opportunities disappear in college hockey. It's a pretty special thing. I enjoy the game. It's fun to see the turnover. It's fun to see how much development is now happening in the college hockey game. The talent level is just so much better across all the teams and all the conferences now. And it's why I enjoy watching it.
Well, that's why we all enjoy it. It's I think, you know, some of it has to do, you and I've discussed this many times in the past, is that there's mistakes, and mistakes opens up for just a little bit more exciting brand of hockey. And that's why I've always liked college better than the program, because in the program, it seems so locked down. There's not as many mistakes, and it's there's not as much back and forth. And maybe that's why I've loved college hockey so much better all over the years. But obviously I still enjoy the NHL, but it's just that slightly lower level where, turnover at the blue line. You don't see that as much in the higher, NHL. Oh boy, it led to a 2-on-1. This is excitement. The crowd's going nuts. It's just a different thing for us.
Well, you're still in the developmental stage
Mm-hmm.
in college hockey, and the coaches want the players to learn those mistakes. It's why players like Bob Motzko play so many young players early, because for your team to grow and get better, those players have to learn the line, where they can go over it and where they have to hold back. And it's fun to watch. It's like why the World Juniors is one of the most exciting tournaments in hockey, because you have people who want to make plays. In the NHL and pro hockey, if you make too many mistakes, you might not get another chance to show what you got. So they might call somebody else up, but in college hockey, it's not like there's a JV that they can pull from and bury you on. They're going to give you a little bit more rope.
Well, there used to be long time ago.
Not anymore. That's where they put guys like Bob Motzko
on the freshman team.
Yeah, we'll put you on the freshman team in the other locker room. Maybe we need you. I don't know.
Maybe. I noticed we've got a couple questions on Twitter. Remember, you could always send us questions any time of the week, but usually we like it right before the show when we record on Wednesdays. Just use the hashtag on Twitter, GPL podcast, and we'll always try to get to your questions. And then for those of you now watching us live on YouTube, there is a little chat window there. I think I'll share the YouTube link a little more often than sending you to the GPL homepage, because if you come directly to YouTube, it's got that nice little chat window in there, and you could ask us questions directly. So, this is a fun new experiment for us, and we're just gonna just give it a try, see how it goes. But now we have to hear from our sponsor.
Hey, fellow GPLers, this is Jerry Peters from First Class Mortgage. Interest rates are near all-time lows and property values are on the rise. Lower your interest rate and remove monthly PMI at the same time to save thousands of dollars. Or use the equity in your home for debt consolidation and home improvement. The housing market is still hot, so make sure you're prepared by getting a pre-approval letter from me before you start shopping. Mention you heard about me on the GPL podcast and receive a $300 closing cost credit. Some restrictions do apply. Call me today at 612-940-3291 or visit firstclassmortgage.com to fill out a free online application. My NMLS number is 480200. First Class Mortgages is 322842. This is not an offer to lock into an interest rate agreement under Minnesota law. First Class Mortgage is an equal housing lender.
And thanks to Jerry for being the GPL sponsor again this year. He's been pretty excited about it. He's like, when are you going to start? I'm like, well, we don't have much to talk about yet. So we're just going to kind of wing it here. So, but we appreciate Jerry sponsoring us again this year, and hopefully it's a fun year. Vigs, we got a couple questions I noticed here on the Twitter. First one is, from Tim Hapke. He's always sending us questions. He's always reliable. With all the defensemen on the roster, is it expected that one of them will get some playing time at forward this year? And who would likely be the candidate?
That is a great question.
A lot of guys up front.
There's a lot of guys on the back end.
Back end, I meant to say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Brock Faber joining the program, we expected Castor and Fish to join. 3 came in. Nanny and Zulsdorf on their way out to play some pro hockey, see how it goes. So there's going to be opportunities there for guys to maybe play forward. Sam Rossini played that role a little bit towards the end of the year in practice. He got a couple opportunities to, get on the forecheck and work his defenseman in a different way. Maybe he's an option there. He's an older player. He hasn't gotten a lot of looks at defense. And, with this kind of season coming up, you never know if there's going to be an outbreak on the team and they're trying to scramble to figure out what can happen. I don't expect, the regular guys to play it forward, but maybe someone who's on the edge like that could get a couple shifts here and there up front.
And another thing to consider too is that they might have, 1, 2, 3 guys who have already had it, and we're just not going to know because they had it during the summer, and maybe they didn't tell their coaches, or there's a lot of things that we don't know. I'm guessing we might know during the season, but before the season, in this off season, who knows what's happened.
And the U's been pretty coy about talking about which teams are having positive cases and if players are being paused here or there. So we'll see. I do think there is a potential for the team to have outbreaks, though, over the year. I think Minnesota's doing the best they can. I know their team is pretty compliant, wearing masks around buildings and things like that, and doing their part to limit any kind of spread. But you never know. These are college kids who live.
Exactly. How do you keep young adults and frankly, some teenagers? It's college.
It's college. It's different. It's not the pro. It's not being in a bubble. So there are going to be things that they're going to have to deal with during the year. And that's why they have 18 weeks to play their schedule.
Mm-hmm. And really, it's going to be on the players to do the right thing. I mean, it's just going to be flat out that, Moscow's got to tell these guys, hey, if you go out and party, you're going to get COVID. You could spread it to somebody else. It's hard to win when we don't have you and you on, being able to play. So it's, it's kind of I would say it's Moscow's just kind of pushing out to them. It's up to you to stay healthy. It really is. Be smart. If you living with a certain amount of, a couple of the other players, you don't have people over, don't have parties. I mean, it's going to be kind of a common sense type of thing, Viggs.
Yeah. The other name I guess I'd throw in for D, who might be able to play forward, might be Matt Demon. He's a guy who hasn't seen a lot of ice time. Mm-hmm. He is a tough guy to play against in practice. I haven't been able to see any practices this year. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, but it was noticeable last year that he has the ability to get under someone's skin and kind of get them going. And he might be able to do it in a different way at forward if they need guys who can do that. Because he's an older player. He's done his part in the weight room and things like that. And he's got a little nasty to him.
And that's kind of what we need.
Sometimes you need that. Your bottom 6 players, sometimes you need to get the attention of the other team and be hard to play against.
I'm kind of curious how Sampo Ranta is going to play this year. I mean, we kind of had that video over the summer of him just working out like a beast.
He is a workout machine.
Yeah. So hopefully that translates to the ice.
Yeah, I know when Sampo got to the U, he was a little bigger up top than Cal Dietz would like. And one of the things I was working on for a feature for the playoffs was on that transformation that Sampo Ranta made. But when he got to the U, he was such an Olympic lifter, bench, clean, squat. He did, the traditional periodization workouts where you do, 3 reps of 8, 3 reps of 5, 3 reps of 3 as your training progression. And you just kind of stick to that and you put on weight and you add weight to your lifts and you just see how much you can bench, how much you can clean, how much you can squat, and you focus there. When you get to a place like the U and Cal Dietz, he's like, it's great that you can lift a lot, but how explosive are you? What kind of recovery do you have? How many high efforts can you give out over a night? And he really focuses on trying to optimize your body, not just get you as strong as you can. Bob often says it's not bigger, faster, stronger. It's faster and explosive.
And boy, what a resource that the U has in Cal Dietz.
I mean, he's a tremendous expert. He's been doing this for decades, and he is a scientist. He captures all this data working with these athletes, and he has learned how to optimize training programs for people. Everyone at the U has a customized training program. Maybe guys like Sammy Walker and Blake McLaughlin have a very similar workout, but it's a lot different than the one that Sampo Ranta and Ben Brinkman get. He specializes it to those players.
So now are all players wearing sensor type things during each game, or is that just during practice, or how does all that work? Do you know the specifics of that?
When you're at the U, they have a big enough budget where they can put the catapult sensors on every player for every practice and every game. And
Okay.
Cal gets that data. He gets enough data where he can tell when soft tissue injuries are developing, but they haven't torn. And he was telling me this one example of a high pick who was playing for the Gophers, and he forgot to check the date, or he didn't check data after Friday night games. He would just, have Friday night game, Saturday night game, review all the data Sunday so they could plan for the week. Well, one of these players had a groin injury and had to miss, a couple of weeks. And when he looked back at the data, he could tell that that player was favoring one leg over the other on Friday night. And if he would have looked at the data, he would have said, maybe we should scratch you Saturday, or we should do some soft tissue massage and just be aware of it because it's at the brink. And so now he does all that stuff. And that's why you've seen a dramatic drop in soft tissue injuries. You don't see a lot of Gophers with pulled groins, things like that. The things you see are, ACL tears, MCL tears, shoulder injuries from contact, but you don't see a lot of soft tissue stuff.
So as someone who doesn't know, what do these sensors look like? Is it literally, you think of somebody at a hospital getting all these little sensors on them? Are they do they wear like a bodysuit type of thing or what? Or is it just, they just kind of tape themselves in? How does it really work?
They'll wear like a compression shirt that's got a sensor. It's like what you have in your iPhone. It's got the accelerometer, the gyroscopes technology, and it can tell how your body's moving and extrapolate data based on what it's sensing from its location. And so it's in a compression shirt, so it doesn't move.
Yep.
So it can figure out where everything else is going, and it can, figure out how many strides you've taken, how fast you're accelerating. When you have collisions, how strong of an impact is it?
Wow.
How many miles have you skated? How long does it take you to get up to top speed? There's all this stuff that they can get out of it, and Cal gets it.
Wow. I know we've talked about it. We touched on it a little bit in the past, and it's just, I find it fascinating, that how much technology is helping a basic sport where you're moving a puck around on a stick.
It's
There's
amazing.
just so much more there than we never knew about until the technology was there to read it.
The players get these body scans at the start of the year when they're putting together their training programs, and it figures out their muscle mass. It figures out the fat percentage. It figures out their bone density. And then it can compare your proportions to what's the ideal for you. To be in a top elite hockey player, how does your body composition match that? And so when they look at a guy like Sample Ranta, they're like, you're too big up top. That means you can't turn as quickly. Your quickness stops and starts aren't going to be there. When you're cornering, you've got too much weight. And so they actually kind of redistributed some of his muscle mass from his upper body to his lower body and said, we're going to do light weights up top, higher rep. The bottom, we're still going to focus on explosive stuff and try to get more energy there. But they changed his body type. And they also figured out that his recovery was a little off because he didn't have enough body fat. And so when your body doesn't have enough fat, it eats muscle. So they could see from Friday to Saturday.
So he was too lean.
He was too lean because
Wow.
he couldn't recover as well for Friday to Saturday. And then over the season, he would start to eat away at his muscle for energy. And so Cal is like, hey, you need to have a little bit higher fat percentage so you can recover. And it's just amazing the kind of stuff Cal does.
Well, that's cool stuff, Viggs. I got to be honest, that's pretty cool stuff. Back to the questions here. We got our boy the Rube. He says, how will the pairwise work this year with all the limited schedules? And I started thinking about this, and it just gave me a headache. It really doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work. If you don't have those interconference games, you can't really compare teams across conferences. If you did try to use the pairwise as is, you would have equal numbers of teams from all leagues pretty much. So I think there might be a return to the dark room where
I was thinking of the old smoky room in the back.
Smoky room where Don Lucia now can sit back there with a cigar and a Barolo and decide who gets the number one seeds and whatnot. and we might see a different tournament format.
That is true.
Go. So,
speaking of tournament formats, when they released, or at least they talked about, hey, we're going to start November 13th and we're going to play 24 games and 4 games against Arizona State. Oh, and by the way, we're going back to the old format of one site for the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Where that's going to be, we don't know, but I think it's a good choice, at least for this season.
Yeah. Red Berenson says, it just cuts down on travel at a critical time of the year. Cuts down the expense for what could be a tricky time for Big Ten institutions, and it just makes it easier to get in and gives them more flexibility.
And so it's just, we're not going to know probably for a while, maybe until the schedule starts or the schedule's put out. But I'm thinking Minnesota could be a good location to have it, even if it's at Mariucci or something like that, if they're not going to have fans. They just need a facility that could handle that many teams. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be the X. I mean, if there's no fans, it could be Ritter for all we know, or one of the others, on school sites. They have a lot of flexibility there, since it's not likely to be able to have many fans.
Yeah, I think you look at a place like Minnesota with Ritter and Mariucci connected. They could kind of make it a bubble and figure out a way to keep all the players isolated as much as you can. And they could practice at Ritter and Mariucci. They could keep their stuff in the locker rooms for the whole time, limit the number of people in the building. It's a attractive place to have it. And you have all the suites. So you could have coaches and, team staff be able to watch the games in distance and all those kinds of things.
Interestingly enough, if I can spit it out, all the pictures I've seen from Gopher hockey practice has been at Ritter Arena, it looks like, at least for the most part. And I saw on Twitter, we were talking about just kind of yesterday, does Minnesota move over to Ritter for this season since we can't have fans? It makes sense to me. It makes sense for if you're trying to prepare for a playoffs where you're not playing on an Olympic-sized sheet of ice. Maybe to even give some time to say, hey, this is, since we're closed down, let's start working on that change of the rink, and we have more time to change Mariucci. Yes, it does take the cash.
You got $10 million, Jupe?
No, I don't. Not
on you?
No, I don't have any on me.
No.
You think they play at Ritter this season?
Jess Myers asked Bob about this yesterday, apparently, and Bob downplayed it. I think it's complicated to figure out how to make it happen. 3M obviously paid a lot of money to sponsor the rink. I don't think it would be too complicated to say 3M Arena at Ritter. Works for me. Maybe they could get some more money out of 3M to sponsor both rinks and help get that ice sheet conversion underway. Who knows? I think it's an attractive option. We think we've seen Minnesota some years play better on an NHL-sized rink. I think this team especially might be built for the smaller rink. They've got some decent size, and I think they've played better on the NHL rinks under Motzko. So it's an attractive option for me to see. It's very complicated, but we saw Tony Granato talk about that. They might have the option to play at their two rinks. Yep, yeah, at LeBon. So we'll see. I'm not dismissing it.
I think I do think having television in Ritter is a little bit different. They can't fit as much. You're not gonna have all the great TV angles, but I gotta say, Viggs, the times I've gone over and watched games at Ritter, a lot of times one of the suites are open and you can kind of sit in one of the suites and you're basically hanging over the ice almost. It is a spectacular place for anyone in the media to watch a game because you are right on top of the ice.
Yeah, it's a fun place. I've seen high school games there. I've seen the women's team play there. It's a good rink.
And it will be interesting. It will definitely be interesting. Finally, Viggs, there's been a little NHL draft the last couple of days, and we do have a lot of Gophers that have already been drafted, but we had a few future Gophers and a freshman get drafted. What do you want to say about that?
I think, everyone expected Brock Faber to be a high pick.
Yeah.
Second round, skaters like him are very attractive to NHL teams because it's a safe pick. He's had the right pedigree moving along. I don't think he's projected as a top, point producing type defenseman, but he's a safe pick. Kings will do very well to have him in their system. I was surprised to see Jake Boltman go as high as he did. I saw somebody,
didn't he go at 80 or something like that?
Yeah, to Calgary.
Yeah.
And that was unusual. It kind of got me on Major Junior watch. His WHL rights are owned by the Regina Pats. It'll be interesting. He's supposed to play for Lincoln this year in the USHL. But I will be watching that. We all have fond memories of Chris Chucko leaving the university early to start his Calgary career.
And where'd that go?
Painful. Exactly. So we'll see what happens, but he's not a big point producer guy. I know he's got a big shot and he's an athlete. He played multiple sports like football. I think he was a running back through high school. So he's maybe not one of those specialized guys. So he's got room to grow. But I think that was a surprising pick. Joey Miller, late pick by Toronto. Scott Bell got him to come to Minnesota. Now he's got him on Toronto's development system. So
I wonder if Scott had something to do with that.
Probably. Yeah. Scott's got an eye for those little forwards. Jake Gensel was a Scott Bell selection. So if Joe Miller turns out to be a Jake Gensel, that would be pretty phenomenal for Minnesota and Toronto.
I do believe that, again, the university will have the most drafted players on their team this year.
Michigan's going to give them a run for their money, though. I think
they will, because
they might have a couple draft eligibles on their team too, which is interesting to see.
Michigan's going to be really good this year if they can get it together. I mean, we've seen freshman dominant teams. You think of BU from a couple of years ago?
Yep, and even Wisconsin.
Yeah, and Wisconsin, correct. And it all depends on if you can get it together. If you can get these guys playing together as a team, watch out.
And get them focused on being college athletes.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I read last year, Scott Wheeler embedded with the Badgers, I didn't think that was a very healthy college team. I think it was a lot of kids developing to be pros. And you just get that sense sometimes. I remember Don Lucia talking about that. If you have a bunch of players on a college team who are thinking about being NHL players all the time, it's hard to be successful.
Yes. Well, one thing that happened in this offseason, and we actually just had a Zoom meeting with him about a week or so ago, is Paul Martin's going to be the student coach helping out on the defense. And boy, nothing wrong with that, Viggs. He is definitely qualified to be back there and helping out these kids on defense.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great experience. He's been a mentor to some great players in the NHL, as kind of a voice for them to turn to and grow, like Brent Burns.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of experience with that. So he's got kind of that soothsayer experience, at least at that level. I know it takes a while for these student assistants to figure out how to fit in with a coaching staff. Stu Bickle, that first year, just kind of sat back a lot, took a lot in. You saw last year, he was on the ice a lot, giving guys one-on-one development, instruction, taking them through some extra things at the end of practice to kind of get them in the right decision-making and understand what he was talking about. And he got very involved. We saw him on the bench at games. He took advantage of it. Now he's going to be coaching the Magicians in the NAHL. So I think it's an opportunity for these guys to figure out, is coaching the right thing for me? And I think that's something Paul Martin's going to be doing.
And just get the experience. And like Paul said on his little media meeting, he just kind of wants to see if it's for him, and see if it's something he'd like to do, and what a better way to do it. There's not a lot of pressure for a student teacher to come in. It's more observing and saying, hey, it's just kind of helping out on the ice a little bit, but it's not like a regular assistant coach where there's a ton of pressure on you to, hey, got to make sure that power play is going and what have you. It's a little different. It allows him to just kind of sneak in there.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be under the gun like, hey, is Brock Besser going to come here? I need you watching him every night this month and make sure he actually commits here. There's not that kind of pressure on a student. I think it'll be a big opportunity, and I think Bob will kind of like gauge the commitment level of Paul Martin and figure out, how into this is he before he gives him more. He kind of wants him to warm up to it and figure out how he fits in and then what he's interested in, and then they'll point him in the right direction. But what a great resource for the U to have.
Oh boy, it is a great resource, and plus he can help out in the office doing faxing and things like that. I just love that the shredding, trying to fax a big binder. That video with him and Ballard during the lockout is still an all-time classic for me. I still giggle about it.
Yeah, but maybe a waxing appointment or two.
Back wax
for
Grant Patolny.
Patolny. Yes, I think you might need 2 sessions for him.
Oh wow, you said it, not me. Hey Viggs, anything else going on right now that you wanted to talk about while we're here? Because we're probably not going to be back until about the week of the. I'm thinking around the 11th that we'd be back, but it was we had some things going on, and I thought it was be good to have a show. So anything else on your mind?
I just think it was significant. Jake Ratzloff didn't get drafted. He is the football hockey player from Rosemount.
Mm-hmm.
He had the opportunity to play for Green Bay at the end of last year, was planning on doing a before and after with them this year, to try to figure out what he wanted to do. He was projected as a second, third round talent, but he did not get selected in the draft. So I think that means it's going to be a battle for PJ Fleck to figure out if he wants him at linebacker or if he'll go to Wisconsin. So we'll see. I think he's going to be headed to football. So people who are looking at the defenseman pipeline for Minnesota, I'd probably pencil him in. Maybe get the eraser ready.
Get the eraser ready. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, it is a big we'll see type of thing. And the kid's got to make a decision. And whatever he decides, it's all good. It's his future. And that's all that matters. So
you're not going to be successful in a sport you don't love and want to put in the time. So if his love is football, he should pick football.
You go.
It's hard to choose when you've put in all the time that goes into playing hockey and getting to that point. But if you love to play football, he's a heck of a linebacker. I know that Gopher Illustrated and Ryan Burns thinks he's a 4-star type recruit, which puts him in a lot of Power 5 schools as a starter.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this GPL podcast. We'll be back around November 11th for our next show right before the season starts. Things will be much clearer by then, at least with the schedule. For those of you watching live on YouTube, we'll have a little bit of overtime coming up next. For the rest of you listening, we'll catch you next time on the GPL podcast. Having fun with the video, aren't we, Viggs?
Yeah, it's new, right?
I kind of like it. I like being able to see you, and then we can kind of react a little bit better. And I think the Zoom thing, there's so many people doing Zooms now that getting guests on will be even easier.
Yeah, I think so too.
Send them a link. People will be able to see them. It should be interesting. The thing is, I shouldn't have posted like the portal page link. I should have just posted the YouTube link, because then people would come to this. But it's all something new, and you probably have to be logged in on YouTube to be able to make comments. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah. And
I'm lucky I forgot to hit record on the Zoom, but I got the audio, so that's all that matters.
That work?
Because I'd like to be able to record it. Zoom allows you to record to the cloud, because I don't need more stuff recording and coming in through my machine. So I just forgot to hit that, but
we don't need it.
So those of you who are
Rube,
watching,
Rube probably has it.
Yeah, those. I think Nate's probably watching us right now.
He's probably watching the debate. He's a New Yorker now.
God, isn't that over by now though?
I don't know. I still see lots of tweets about it.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of tweets about it. So Viggs, you've got a nice little cabinet back there in your Zoom window. You got a couple diplomas. Look at all that nice stuff.
I got my workout.
Oh, an exercise. Oh, you see the ball is what you get to sit on. That should be your chair right there.
I got my Mayak print up here.
Wow.
Player of the week helmet. My match play trophies and 4-ball trophies from U of M Golf Club.
You don't have your Rube's jersey hanging up back there?
No, maybe I'll put the jerseys up here. I know that's how Bob likes to do it. He likes to put some jerseys behind him.
I might need to do that too because I've got nothing on this back wall. I've got
your Wooger towel.
I do have the Wooger towel over here. Yeah. That's hanging out with all the credentials are on the short door. This door looks weird. I can actually move my camera. I can't really move my camera a little bit because into the monitor, but you can see I've got a little mini door there. Yeah. Because this is actually underneath the stairs. So you can see the stairs come down this way. So
also Harry Potter stays in the room under the stairs.
It's kind of nice. I actually put all my server and all the electronics in there. It's kind of nice. Printers in there and everything. Over here, I've got a plant growing. I got Goldie, got a GPL puck that somebody made for me years ago. It's kind of nice actually.
I was gonna wear the GPL hat, but I wanted to show the flow.
I think this is Rube. The Rube got me this a long time ago. So
can you tell who's in the chat? We got Rube, Hapke, Banks, Banksy.
Which chat is that?
I can see the chat. Rube's been chatting away. Hapke's excited for overtime. I don't know.
Why am I not seeing anything in the
YouTube? Top chat maybe. Well, all chat, live chat.
Oh.
There's top chat and
see that chat. I had no idea. I had chop chat and there was nothing there. I thought nothing was going on the entire game.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are. Now I can see them. Well, isn't nice? Oh yeah. Gator probably did get me the puck there, Brent. You're right. And then what else I got? I've got this puck. This is an official game puck. From 2005. I think it was Matt Kowalska hit me with this puck. I think, but the significance of this puck was that I was laid off from my previous job that day and had a game that night, Friday. And so I just wrote the game. It was against St. Cloud, 2/25/2005. And I kept this in my office all those years I was in my office. So that was kind of fun. Got one of these green pucks.
Green biscuit.
I got this right from Tom Peterson. He sent it over to me when I was tweeting about it a long time ago.
Yeah, I got my kids green biscuits and a pink biscuit for my dog.
Yeah, they've got a lot of colors and special stuff now, so that's kind of cool.
Yep, we've been working in the garage a little bit on the hands.
Man, I wish I would have seen that live chat, but we're learning here, folks.
We're pretty good. We probably didn't get to Justin's question exactly, but it's hard to know too much about what they've got right now because Bob hasn't done too much availability. So
he's only done a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're doing more stuff and I'm not getting it, but and then.
No, he hasn't done very much. Bob doesn't like to talk about stuff in the preseason. He wants to play games.
There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. There really isn't.
I think last year we had like 4 availabilities in 2 weeks before they'd even played a game. And by the 4th one, Bob's like, so guys, what's different from yesterday? And like it happened because TV couldn't make it for 2 of them. And so they had to redo them. And
beer of the night, Viggs. That's what Hapke wants to know.
Should I go get it for you?
I'll go get it. Go for it. One thing that's been kind of nice here is my dog. She's been sleeping here the whole time. I'm glad she didn't bark. That would have sucked. Yeah. Viggs is going to get the beer of the night. So do you guys like this video thing? Does it work for you? Is the audio and everything good, on that end? The only thing is I've noticed that there's a little longer of a delay. I want to say with Mixler, it was 10, 15 seconds. This looks to be, closer to 30 seconds. When will we see a roster? I think the roster is already pretty much set. You see, Sean, lots of chins. Yes, a lot of chins, Gray Eagle. That's why I have my camera up high, so it's not if it was down below, you'd see all of this chin. And Vig just covers his up with the beard. So
beard.
Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah. So what's the beer, Vigs?
Oh, let me shut this here. I don't know if you can see this very well.
Steel Toe Brewing.
Lunker. So this is out of the cellar. I've not done a very good job keeping up with my cellar lately.
Well, it's kind of hard.
It's hard. I'm getting old.
So I actually have a cellar in my house. It's right below my feet.
Yeah.
Dirt floor and all.
So I have a few things I'm going to do this evening. So I'm going to open this guy up if I can find my opener. Someone's been in here moving stuff around.
Darn kids.
Yeah, my son is into Stratomatic baseball.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do you know what that is?
No.
So Stratomatic baseball is like the original fantasy baseball. You get these player cards, and they have like 36 outcomes versus lefties and 36 outcomes versus righties, and you roll these dice, and it tells you what it is, like single, double, fly ball left field. It tells you the type of fly ball it is if your runners advance. Mm-hmm. And he freaking loves it. He's 8.
Really?
We've played like 9 games already since his birthday in like 15 days. And he, like, when we get home, he gets home from school and he's like, "Can we play a game of Stratomatic baseball?" I've got my pitcher lined up already, and he's the Twins every game. And I've been going through the rest of the Central, and man, Tigers are terrible. They're just bad. Yeah.
Great Eagle says they had that when he was a kid. He's pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's pretty old. It's cool. It's fun.
I'd never heard about it.
There we go.
Jupe, will you be allowed to cover in person as a member of the media or as a TBA? That is an excellent question.
It is TBA.
I'm guessing that we will be allowed in there, but I'm mostly taking photos. If I need to go sit in a chair and just somewhere with no one around me, I'll shoot from there. That's no problem. But really, it is TBA. We just have no idea. Oh, there's the pour.
Tiny glass. Smells great.
I don't know. I don't know if that compares to, was it Hammy that was pouring that one time in the background?
That was me.
That was you?
That was me. I got glug.
That was excellent.
This has got lots of whiskey.
So are you
barrel.
using your Yeti?
Yeah.
Microphone? There it is.
It is.
You got the silver one.
Yep.
I've got the black one.
Yeah. Stratomatic's probably like a 70s thing. It's old school, but we have current teams. They come out with a new, like, they're perforated, heavy stock paper, and you tear them all up. And then you have your team, and you put everyone everywhere. It's fun.
Wow.
It's a lot better than playing War. Although we also play Stratego.
You talk about the War with the cards?
Yeah. That was big for a long time.
Go Fish.
Gosh, this is still outstanding. This has got to be pretty old too. It's got to be like 5 years old. So it's had plenty of time to mature. Maybe a little oxidized, but not too bad.
Toffee, yeah, now you're not speaking my language anymore.
Toffee, caramel, rich. It's like when you go to Duluth and you start opening all the brown liquor bottles.
I noticed quite a few of those pictures were showing up on my Facebook memories recently of that weekend we were up there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I did not go up there to play golf this year. I'm sad about it, but for the safety of my family, I decided it was probably not in my best interest to go up there. But.
I was seeing, because it was around this time that we were up in Duluth just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, there I am posting. I posted some pictures. And actually, today was one of those days. Today was like game 2 of that opener. We played in the afternoon that day.
Yeah, because I saw Nate Wells was commenting on the picture of Frank and Wally at Hoops.
Yep.
and we were rapidly transcribing some quotes for all of our faithful followers on Twitter because I remember when Michael Russo used to do that, like he'd transcribe quotes and put it on after the presser.
Mhm.
I freaking love that. I thought it was great, and so when I'm at games, I try to get those quotes up there quick, and I think it's one of the best parts about covering the games is getting that visceral reaction after the game. And sad that probably won't be able to do that this year. I mean, maybe we'll have Zooms and stuff, but if I was running the Big Ten, I would not allow media members to have contact with the players.
Well, and you could probably do it. I mean, if you just let you keep us up in the press box or whatever, that's a good question.
Yeah,
we may be observing from home, and if that's the way it is, we just have to deal with it this year.
Yep. It's probably for the best. I'd rather have them keep playing the games.
That is true. Oh boy, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Steel Toe. Highly endorse Steel Toe Brewing. So
there you go. I want to get Jay Carver on board still.
I also want to get Jay Carver on board.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes.
So the video thing's a success. It seems like I'd like to, if I would hit record on the Zoom meeting, that would have been better because I think that the Zoom actually its recordings are pretty good because you could separate out each person's audio.
Oh,
so like if there's 3 or 4 of us, I can actually put everyone in their own track. And if someone had some weird loud noise, I could take that out. Whereas before, like tonight I recorded, in GarageBand, I just put, the Zoom audio in one track, which is obviously just you. But if it was other people, it would be, it would be all of you together in one track. So it'd be interesting to be able to separate that out. Take a little longer to put it together, but it's kind of a cool feature I'd like to look at. Because if it can separate out tracks and do some of that stuff, I can actually stop using GarageBand when it comes to recording as we do the show.
Sometimes takes up some processor,
and that's where I've had issues. Is that when we used to use Mixler in the past, I used to it would sometimes just crash. It would just stop recording, and I would chop it up, and I'd get the odd because Mixler was also recording. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a double thing. So if I remember to hit record next time, I'll try that because I'm kind of curious because it didn't mention how it separates tracks, which I've been always wanting to do. I've always wanted to take everyone have their own track because you never know. Someone's got bad audio and someone's coughing, whatever it is.
Someone's got one of these that
hitting their chin.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was Hammy most of the time.
Yeah. Because he's doing curls while he's listening to you talk. It's like
Hammy's probably we should maybe check in on Hammy with Eddie Van Halen dying yesterday. That was that was bad for me. I had Eddie's poster from 1983 up on my wall, all in junior high and high school. I bet you Hammy's not doing well with Eddie Van Halen passing away because he's been sick a lot of these years, but boy, it was kind of out of nowhere.
Wellness check.
Don't smoke.
That'd be helpful.
So, don't smoke.
Are you gonna do a little gin and tonic? That's what Sean's asking, I think.
No, right now. I've just got the water. And I
got
the Yeti here and the Yeti here. I got 2 Yetis going on right now.
There you go. Yeah, I'd like Jay Carver to sponsor us. We could pour Carver whiskeys during the show, and we could show people us enjoying them.
The only thing I had a hard time though is I had that little video thing. I had the picture of him and all his contact stuff with Jerry with First Class Mortgage, and it kept my image up there. The live video, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I saw it okay.
Yeah, you might have seen it, but the actual Zoom recording, when I shared the screen, like how I'll share it. That's not even open right now, so I can't really share it. But I could see myself up in the corner. Okay. Yes, Jay Carver is very good, Brent. I'm out of it right now. I'm on empty.
Brent, I will for our season opening when I'll flex a bourbon. I've got some good stuff.
I might pick up some Larceny sometime. That's the good stuff we had up in Duluth.
You like that one a lot.
I did.
Yeah, Larsing's good. They make a barrel proof version now as well. Also very good.
Yeah,
it's a little more expensive.
Well, everything's expensive.
Oh yeah,
whiskey's expensive.
Can be.
I mean, it's just one of those things.
You can drink your bullet, or you can get fancy and do some other stuff. I've gotten into a whiskey club.
Oh,
where we get single barrels, and we have enough people where we can just like buy a barrel.
Really?
And yeah, so that's been fun. I got a really cool Maker's Mark barrel this year. I got a Joseph Magnus bottle from a barrel that Rube might know about. What else have I gotten? I got a Russell's Reserve single barrel. I got a Remus barrel pick, a Rossville Union Rye. It's been fun. I've had a good quarantine experience.
I bet.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I've been running more, so.
Yeah, I have not been doing any exercising. I should, but why?
I'm exercising because in case I get corona, I want to have a decent chance of pulling out of it. So
yeah, well, there is that.
Trying to encourage some lung activity here.
So I'm liking this Zoom thing with the YouTube channel or live streaming. That's kind of nice. I might, if we end up not having, any kind of access fees and we're stuck at home, we might just do a couple post-game videos and just talk about games real quick and not really do podcasts. Just get on and talk about, what we saw and what happened to each games. Cause it doesn't, we can just do a 10, 15-minute thing if we wanted to, or if we don't want to. We can just play with it. The technology's pretty nice now. I really like the Zoom thing. It's pretty nice because one thing, when one person talks, it automatically focuses on them, and it's a lot of things I'd like to get with it too. I can even put a green screen behind me, which is way better than these virtual backgrounds of people.
Yes, I've seen. I have a coworker that does it.
We need to get Jess Myers to fix his because his is just awful.
His is hard to look at.
Oh my gosh,
it's so bright, so bright.
We maybe the next Zoom meeting before like Moscow comes on, we're gonna have to rip on him.
I've already ripped on Bob's background too.
That's not a virtual one, is it?
No, but he's got the the laptop like this.
Or how about Randy? Is Randy Johnson's like right at the bottom? Because all of a sudden you'll see his hands come up and start typing like right here.
Yeah.
And it's like, where is your camera, dude?
Yep. Some people are better than others. You can tell that certain people have experienced Zooming and some are just like doing it for these media things. And Joe Schmidt, when he was on for a Gopher football one, he had all his Emmys. All flexing in the screen. I was just like, okay, Joe, you've won a couple awards. That's good.
Whereas Dave, Dave Schwartz was part of it a couple like last week with Motzko. Or actually, it was with Paul Martin, and he just had books and nice stuff. He didn't have any, anything flashy. But yeah, Joe Schmidt. Yeah, there you go.
I'll get there. I'll get all my golf trophies up behind me at some point.
All those Rube championships too.
All those runner-up banners. I think we were runner-up like 4 years in a row.
I don't know it was 4 years old, but it was definitely 4 times.
Yeah, we almost had that when we played the Russians.
Lindy made the graphic. It was outstanding.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, should we call it a night here, Vegas?
Probably
enough overtime.
I'm just gonna tell Rube we've gotten word about the feds being interested in these bourbon groups, and so what we've been doing is we partner with a liquor store, and they're the ones who end up processing everything, and so they buy it. We buy it from them at a price, and like everyone pays tax. So it's all very above the board. There's nothing under the table. We're not
sure it isn't.
I think there's some sort of discount that we get because we're the group that picks it. And
you're bootlegging. You're going to have,
we're not bootlegging. We're not like,
you can't bootleg across the county line. And I'm in high speed pursuit.
The start of NASCAR. No, so we're not doing that. So everything's above the board and everyone's being very official. We have to go to these stores and pick it up and follow the procedures. We don't want anyone getting fined or arrested. So, but I do want to have nice bourbons from time to time, and it's so hard to find the allocated rare stuff. This is just as fun. So, and every once in a while I do get a Van Winkle. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to stop the live stream. So say goodbye to everybody here, Vegas.
Goodbye. Thanks for tuning in to our debut Zoom YouTube.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll keep doing it, folks. Have a good night, everyone.